Is it starting?
So that is the conditional cash transfer. With approval from the president, which we hope to get this week, on the 17th of October, we'll be officially launching the conditional cash transfer to 15 million households in Nigeria. Presently, as we speak, we are having a verification exercise. Every state can bear us witness that we have put boots on ground, persons who are working with the state cash transfer office, as well as the governors who are the head of the steering committee, and then several other persons who are in the states, the local government heads, the community heads, for community targeting, of course, geographical targeting. All of this is to be sure that those who are on the National Social Register truly are Nigerians. They fall within the under $1.95 a day, and they deserve to have it. Remember, some people on the register will probably be dead. Some people on the register would have moved out of that bracket because they got a job, they're no longer where they used to be, and all of that. We need to be able to mine that data, get these people out, and deal with people.
So you're cleaning up the data?
Yes, that's
because
what we're doing presently.
There are question marks also on the data of the vulnerable, the poor of the poorest families in that bracket. And those who say, in fact, there are now ghost families or ghost homes on that register. How can we trust? How is it possible? Is it possible for any Nigerian to be able to cross-check in any way the data that you have?
So two things. First, as we speak, we are on the field cleaning up that data and doing a complete verification. And we're putting together, just supposing, both the BVN, NIN, and the rest of it to identify these people and be sure that we are dealing with authentic persons. And then, of course, there's biometrics to it, and you have a capturing of the head of the household as well as a picture of the household, so it can be located. On each of these households, they're numbered, so people can go there and verify against the register. But beyond this, one of the things which we are doing is to work with those at the local level, to the commerce and other officials at the local level, to reach out to those who need it the most. We're equally doing a kind of rapid response expansion in that we'll be capturing persons who were left out of the register just to fill in the spaces of those who are either dead or have moved out of that bracket.
So the question is the number of Nigerians who are banking,
yes,
which is less than 60 million.
Yeah.
So you look at the number of Nigerians who have national identity, less than 50 million. The number of Nigerians with NIN, less than 100 million, is about 97 million. So when you look at the vulnerable Nigerians and the poorest of the poor, these are the people who may not even have any of these criteria. Are you not naturally cutting off some of these people who may be needing it in truth?
So we have devised another means. The group of persons who are registered presently, and they have all of this. The NIN, remember, we're dealing with 15 million households. Like you said, most of these data, the NIN, we have almost 100. For the bank BVN, we have over 60 million, and the rest of it. We're dealing with just 15 million. Now, in this 15 million, you still have a good percentage from the data which we're looking through right now, about 30% of them.
How many people do we have on the poor people register in Nigeria?
We have 15.7 million households and 62 million individuals. However, in the household, we're dealing with the head of the household. So not taking into consideration
the number of people.
Entire
number.
Averagely
is between 3 and 5.
So averagely is between 5 and 9. So down south, it's about 5. And then up north it's about 9. Yeah. Right? That's what we
Jigawa having perhaps the highest.
Of course, the highest. And then we have somewhere in the south, in Bayelsa, in Cross River, and they have the lower average, which is about 5.
So the question now is, how much would they be getting every month?
25,000 naira every month for 3 months, which amounts to a total of 75. Now, just to finish that point, which I tried to raise, for that 30% that do not have an existing account, we want to be able to open a tier 3 account for them, which is an on-the-go account, and then link them up to POS and money agents that can be able to take funds for them. They'll use their card, get the funds at their locality where they live without necessarily going elsewhere.
So now, another question here will be, how can Nigerians track this? How can we monitor? How transparent is this process? How can we verify that what the federal government is doing is truly transparent?
So that's one of the biggest challenges I had when I came on board. When I came on board, I said, we are going to publish names of beneficiaries for once on the dailies so that every Nigerian will know who benefited. Enough of putting things in secrecy, and then you have people say nobody's benefiting, we don't know them, they are ghosts.
Wouldn't that contravene their
now
data protection, personal data protection policy?
Protection policy, and of course the freedom of information right, and all of those were brought into query. So what we are doing now is to get people to sign off, permitting us to be able to bring this data to the public. That way, we can have a transparent process. Beyond this, it's going to be a bank-to-bank transfer. So it's traceable from the origin to the point where it gets into the account of the Nigerian. And remember, there are conditions that are attached to this. The president is trying to provide some succor, some immediate relief. He has a lot of long-term plans, medium-term plans, to be able to provide the best for Nigeria. This is just an immediate cushioning of the economic shock that was brought about by the fuel subsidy. And of course, this is supposed to help families to be able to get some livelihood to do. It's supposed to help them to be able to pay for basic education for their children, learn some skills. All of these are all fashioned to ensure sustainability. So at the end of collecting 75,000 naira, you can tell yourself, well, I used this little for upkeep, but this chunk, I used it to learn a new skill that will bring more money into our pockets.
So you are launching it this month?
Yes.
But the register is not quite ready to begin it. So it might not practically begin this month until next month.
The register will be ready by the 15th of October, and that's why we are launching out on the 17th of October.
Yeah.
However, the expansion, so for instance, when we went into a meeting with the Nigerian Labour Congress, they said part of the requirements to suspend the strike was that we will have vulnerable pensioners involved in this conditional cash transfer. Now, the expansion to cover vulnerable pensioners will take beyond 2 weeks because we need to go to the field, capture them, do the biometrics and all of that, which I went to meet them in their office and clearly told them that they need to work with me, provide the needed data and locations of this person. We'll go into the field, we'll capture them where they live, and open the bank accounts for those who don't have, but we believe all of them should have bank accounts because they are pensioners and they are receiving some form of pension. And then we can now be sure that by the first week of November to the second week of November, they would be receiving their own share of it. So I had that discussion with them, which was a frank discussion, apologized for the reasons why we might not be able to take them on this October. But for the rest, they're starting this October.
So it's supposed to be for initial 3 months, October, November, and December.
In December.
Fantastic. When in the month would they be getting the money? Is it at the end of the month?
At the end of the month.
At the end of the month, just like salaries?
Yes, just like salaries for 3 months.
Okay. So before we're due for a break now, but before we do that, I'd like to ask you, since you're the minister in charge of poverty alleviation, there are over almost 135 million Nigerians who are multidimensionally poor. Almost 100 million Nigerians who are living below the poverty line. That means they find it difficult to fend for themselves. If they do not go out a day to earn a living, it might be difficult. Now, the past government has said they will provide 10 million jobs over the next 10 years, which started about 3 years ago or so. From your own point of view, since the president gave you, started doing with that responsibility, How much of poverty can we eradicate in Nigeria or alleviate? How much of people can we remove from that cadre?
So there are two things, and I'll carefully explain it to you. I would like to describe it this way. There's a pit that's probably or a trunk where poor people are already in it. And then there are those who are right at the edge of it, who might, if not protected, fall into it, right? What our ministry is doing is to, number one, provide a social safety net that prevents these people from falling into poverty. And then secondly, trying to pull as many as possible that are in poverty out of poverty. We have mapped out different programs, national programs that is expected to address the issue of multi-dimensional poverty. Of course, you have the Empower, which is supposed to create 5 million jobs in 5 years. We have the JEEP program, which is supposed to provide funds for enterprise and empowerment. These are like